There is an entire industry built on making you anxious about a three-digit number. Banks spend millions to keep you checking it. Credit card companies want you refreshing it like a social media feed. Even personal finance gurus treat it like a high score in a video game. Here's the truth I learned after years of covering this stuff. That number is not your financial identity. It is a product they sell. And once you understand what it actually measures, the anxiety just evaporates. A credit score is not a reflection of how good you are with money. Repeat that until it sinks in. It is not a measure of your wealth. Some of the richest people on earth have no credit at all because they simply do not borrow. It is not a measure of your intelligence, your character, or your worth as a human being. It is one thing though, and one thing only. A measure of how predictable you repay borrowed money. Lenders want to know, if we hand you cash, will we get it back on time, every time, based on your past behavior? That is the entire question. The system only tracks your history with debt. It has no idea you have an emergency fund. It cannot see your paid off car or your growing investments. It just watches how you handle loans and credit cards. You're not being graded. You're being datafied. And here is where the game gets weird. To have a credit score at all, you must first borrow money. You need a history of repaying debt to prove you can handle debt. It is the financial equivalent of needing work experience to get your first job. The system wants you constantly borrowing and repaying because that chain generates data. And that data is incredibly valuable to lenders who want to assess risk, to companies who want to sell you more credit, to an entire ecosystem built on keeping you in the game. The irony is baked right into the foundation. You often need to already be on the hamster wheel to prove you can handle the hamster wheel. But here's what lifted the weight for me. You can achieve a perfectly respectable score without playing their game. You can generate a good number simply as a byproduct of boring automatic behavior. Pay your statement balance in full every month. If you cannot pay in full, you are spending money you do not have. Never carry a balance from month to month. Interest is not a fee. It is a penalty for playing their game wrong. Keep your old accounts open, even the ones you rarely touch, because age and stability look predictable to the algorithms. And only borrow money for things you already know you can repay. That is the entire formula. The score follows the habits. It does not lead them. You do not need to chase it. You just need to let it arrive. Let me clear up some things while we're here. Carrying a small balance month to month does not help your score. That is a myth invented by people who profit from your confusion. It just means you are paying interest for no reason. Paying off a loan early does not unlock bonus points. And closing a credit card you no longer use does not simplify your financial life. It can shorten your credit history and make you look less predictable. These are not hacks. They are traps, dressed up as advice. The real shortcut is refusing to take the shortcut. So here is where I landed after years of writing about this stuff. A high credit score is not the prize. It is not a trophy you mount on the wall. The prize is financial flexibility. The ability to wake up and not panic about money. To move through life without the low-grade harm of anxiety that the credit industry sells along with their products. When you focus on the behavior, on paying what you owe and living on what you have, the score takes care of itself. It becomes a quiet confirmation of good habits, not a number you serve. And that is the weight that lifts. You stop playing their game and just start living.